And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hoorah! Locomotive! Which I think is not... It says jump aboard the train in Locomotive. And then, guess what else there is in this game about trains? That's right, nothing. But hey, now the Puffing Billy people can play this game. This game should have been... I don't know. I guess they're trying to give you something where... I don't know why they named it this way. It could have been called Lost in Translation or something along the lines of that. Think of your own funny name, insert it here. But it is about the fact that when you go to a foreign country, it sounds like the people there are speaking in gobbledygook. In fact, if you don't speak English well, probably I sound like I'm speaking in gobbledygook, mostly because I run all my words together. But folks, that's because I'm a Yankee and I apologize. But anyway, Locomotive is what I said it is. It's a silly party game in which you're saying gibberish trying to get your opponent to do something. Let me show you how it works. You can have multiple teams of 2 players each, and each of them is going to be given a set of these tourist cards. And so these tourist cards are placed in front of each team in a grid like this. Okay, that's no big deal. Players can have them in a different way. And then one person on each team is given kind of a card that's of a funky made-up language. So let's say, for example, I have this one. Tafadali, Ninakula, Kinyawaji. Okay, each of these corresponds to one of the colors here, except Nitakonyawa. And there's different ones, so they have a different kind of a feel to them. Maybe here we have Kaha Olawe or Ulapalokua. I guess it doesn't matter how you pronounce them. You're just trying to pronounce them so that the other player can catch it. Here we have Meerschweinchen and Flogzug and Manalichen. And of course, you're going to mispronounce them, but I don't think they're real words. And there's multiple sets that you can have, but each teammate has one of the same cards. So let's say, for example, this is the card that I have. I have the Kakahiaka and Hoho Wahayuan Mahalohini. So I give it to my partner, and then my partner, or me, it depends, all the partners on one side are going to take one of these destination cards and they're going to look at it. So on one side of the table, a person from each team is looking at this. These are the colors that they need to get in those positions. And then everyone says go, and simultaneously the Tower of Babel comes to life. Now, the players are only allowed to say words that correspond to the card that they have. So you're allowed to say wiki wiki if you're talking about the purple card. You can't say purple. And then you can make some motions. So let's say this beautiful young lady is my partner. If you want to switch 2 cards that are next to each other and switch their locations, then you will cross your arms and uncross them. If you want to switch 2 cards like this, vertically, then you will just put your hands down alternately. If you want to switch cards where there's 3 in a row, and you want to switch them so that this one goes to the bottom and the other one goes to the top, then you will do both hands up and down at the same time. That's all you're allowed to do. You're not allowed to point. You're not allowed to say the purple one. You're not allowed to do any kind of communication that says, something that, that cheating. You can only do those motions, and you can only say the funny words in the card, like Kalimaka and etc. Can you say those words? They're silliness words, and you're saying those, and everyone is doing this at the same time, and it's a bit crazy, and you're eventually trying to get it so that these, eventually moving them around to the point where you will get them into the position, and as soon as you do that, you can shout, stop, and aha, look, I have them in the position, so we get the point for this turn. You can also play for a crowded one. Now this only works for 2 teams, and that's when you have a huge grid with multiple colors on it, and they're grids of 9. And then you can also even do crazy things where, you instead of using the motions in the game, you can have 3 claps, meaning that blinking can make you do something. You can stick out your tongue. You can spin around. You can say words like sushi. You can whisper something, which means switching. So there's all that involved in the game. And it's just a crazy game of saying funny words and getting things to switch. And it's supposed to give you the idea of the hubbub of transportation in a foreign country. I think it does that quite well. This is going to be a polarizing style game. Some folks will hate it because it will sound crazy. Everyone is shouting things. You forget, am I supposed to be doing this or what have you, and what words am I supposed to be saying? Other people are going to love it for those exact same reasons. They love the moving hands and shaking it around. You know which you are. All right, you know if this is the kind of game that you're going to love playing or the kind of game that you should run screaming to avoid. It does handle up to 8 players, and although, I suppose you could somehow find a way to fit more in, but up to 8 players, and it has a fun theme behind it. Not about trains, but what have you. Anyway, so if you are someone looking for something like that, where you want a bunch of people shouting at the same time, like Pit, but it's a party game and people are also motioning, and someone who's watching the game is going to be doubled up in laughter because of the craziness of your antics, then check it out.
Thanks for joining us today. For more written, audio, and video reviews, as well as the #1 board game podcast, check out the website at www.thedicetower.com. Until then, this is Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.